Hi, I'm Zoe and welcome to Paranormal Extraction. And this is my show today. Yes, we have on my favorite ufologist, Preston Dennett, bestseller and highly regarded in the UFO community. You can also find him on Ancient Aliens, and don't check out all of his books on Amazon. Now, this is absolutely amazing because we have Dolly Safran. She is on today, and she is a lifelong contactee, and I am so blessed to have her on. She doesn't make a lot of appearances, but she did today. So I just want to say we're going to talk about 4 of Preston's volume books. They all go together, okay? And they're called Not From Here. So you're going to love it. We're going to talk a little bit about each one of these books, so make sure you buy all 4, okay? Hey, Preston. Hey, Dolly. Thank you for being on today. And I'm really, really excited to talk about Not From Here, volume 1 through 4. But first of all, Preston, let us know about where to find you on Amazon and what is your newest book and your bestsellers.
My books are easy to find on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Of course, I have a website. I'm all over social media, so pretty easy to find. And my latest book, I think, is still Humanoids and High Strangeness. That's right. Symmetry, Humanoids and High Strangeness, in the latest volume of the Not From Here series. Was
Right.
the last 3.
Very cool. Now, I know you're working on Symmetry. Let's talk about Symmetry 1 because Dolly is in that. My favorite of all of your books, I must say. Sorry. But it is. And I know you're going to come out with volume 2 on that. But tell us a little bit about the correct title. I think it's a Symmetry, a True UFO Adventure. I may be wrong. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. My favorite book, too.
Okay.
Though it's hard to choose between my babies. I love them all. But yeah, Dolly's story is so extensive, so amazing, so well verified that it's just off the charts. I love it.
Yeah,
And
it's
the whole
amazing.
book, it's really about her lifelong experiences with ETs.
Yeah.
Very positive.
Yes. Yeah, I
Very
was I
so
was
detailed. Yeah.
I couldn't stop. I couldn't put it down. Okay. And then, of course, I got to meet Dolly, which was even better. But Dolly, tell us about your end here, because I know that you're a full contactee, and you're in that book, and you're also on the show today. So, tell us a little bit about yourself or the book or what's going on with you now.
Okay, well, the book is important to me in that I got a chance to come out and give a message, and tell people the truth about what's really going on. And Preston was gracious enough to take it on, and I'm very thankful for that. He's a wonderful writer, and everybody should read all his stuff. No kidding. Um, what I'm doing lately is just basically keeping up with everything that's going on and try to keep giving more disclosure about things. And we are getting ready to start thinking about going into the second Symmetry. And I'm just enjoying life right now, too. It's fun.
Well, I know that's not totally true because you guys are splashed everywhere. So I know you guys are doing a lot of shows
Yeah, it's true. They keep us busy.
Yeah.
Preston more than me, actually. It's amazing. I mean, every time I turn around, he says, "Oh, I got a show," and it's like, okay, cool. And,
Yeah, I
usually
know.
Project Dolly, too.
Well,
Reaching out.
Okay,
It's
but
really amazing to see.
where are we going to find these shows? And are you posting them all like on YouTube, or where are they, or Preston, or they go to your page directly? I mean, to find you and Dolly, or is it going to be a separate thing?
We'd all post on our Facebook pages would probably be the best place to find what's going on currently.
So that would be Preston Dennett.
Yeah.
Dennett. See, I got it. I said it wrong in the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm so messed up on that. It's Dennett. Okay, Dolly, I got it.
Yes. Awesome.
And then
Yeah.
it would be Dolly Safran, and that's SAFRAN.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
everyone out there, you know where to find them with all of their amazing content. And yeah, I have seen you on Ancient Aliens, all right, Preston. And they keep rotating, so the shows come up and on. So if you guys watch them, there's a lot of reruns on there, but you'll see Preston on there as well, which is really cool. Okay, that's great. So Preston or Dolly, it doesn't really matter. Let's talk about Not From Here. And the first book is, what is it called?
Here, volume 1.
It, it's called Volume 1, not Volume 1.
Yep.
They're all called Not From Here.
Oh,
they're just separate volumes.
Right. Right. Now, my favorite story was, let's see, it was Phone Calls from an Alien on Volume 1. So since we've got 40 minutes and we want to kind of give everyone a little bit of an idea of what's in each book, maybe if that's okay, you can just answer that, question that I have on Phone Calls from Aliens. I don't understand. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing?
Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But that's really what I wanted to do with these books, is explore the more unusual outlying cases. So this book covers a lot of those. One chapter is conversations with aliens. Another is people who shoot guns at UFOs. Don't do that. It doesn't turn out well.
Wow.
Alien zoos. They Walk Among Us. The Alien Clown Connection. And definitely one of my favorite chapters is Phone Call from an Alien.
Oh, that's your favorite.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Because it's so unusual.
Well, tell me about that. I mean, because I was interested in that too.
Yeah, it fascinated me because I started getting my own cases of this. And
mean personally?
Not them calling me so much, but the people I've interviewed. But it's exactly what it sounds like. People receiving calls from an extraterrestrial source.
Wow.
I know how this must sound, particularly to a skeptic. But if you think about it, it's actually quite logical. It fits right in with the many cases where people report all kinds of electromagnetic, things going on in terms of, them shutting down your car engine or the radios staticking up. They can do this. And when I got my first case, I was like, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And I instantly remembered that, Bud Hopkins, very well-known researcher, had a case with his basically star client, Debbie Jordan Cobble, who would get calls each Wednesday with these weird voices coming on, very clicking and lots of consonants, and always at the same time, which is what was happening with the guy I was interviewing from upstate New York. And then I remembered that Raymond Fowler, who of course is very famous for interviewing Betty Andreasson, she had the same thing going on. In fact, they cut in once during a conversation between me and Betty Andreasson, and they described the same thing, very high-pitched, very fast talking. And my own case was very much like that, but really kind of culminated when this guy was driving along a highway at night, and he had a UFO go by, and then he had his cell phone ring, and it made an unusual tone that it can't make. It's not set that way. And he picked it up and it said no such number. He's like, well, that's two things weird going on right here. And he ignored it, but it kept happening. And finally, he picks it up, and there's this weird voice on it and says, "We are coming. The time is soon." And that freaked him out. And of course, he goes home and has his really first and only fully conscious encounter. He's having a lot of missing time. But was taken on board and shown a hybrid child. Well, this is why we had come. You needed to know this. We're not here to hurt you. Aren't you excited about this? He had a lot of mixed feelings about it.
Well, yeah. So he had this contact in the car with his phone and making a weird ringing noise and stuff like that. And then after that, he was abducted. Am I wrong on that? Or what?
He was Yeah, he was taken on board
Okay.
from his home, and the ETs wanted to explain why they had contacted him. And it was basically because he had a child with them. He had made this agreement to have this child with them.
Wow.
And he felt this incredible love for this child, but at the same time was a little bit overwhelmed by the whole experience.
Well, who wouldn't be?
Yeah, totally
Dolly. Dolly
understandable.
wouldn't be.
Well done.
Dolly,
Yeah.
what do you think about these phone calls? I mean,
You can handle any kind of phone there is. They back in the day it was all on wire, okay, and they would tap into the wire, the telephone wires, and they can get a signal on that way. And then when they went to fiber optics, and your cell phone is on Wi-Fi with fiber optics traveling all around the world, they can tap into that as well. They use like technology, and it's easy for them. And yeah, they'll if you're not listening to them and they're trying to get you to notice what they're doing, they can ring your phone or make a call to you and see if you'll answer it, that kind of thing. They will.
okay, and is that for what reason? Like to get your attention
They're just
or
trying to get you to, heads up. That
wow.
something's about to happen. You need to pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I find that interesting and this part interesting. I should probably shut up so we can move on, but I'm not. Because there's a lot of unconscious people out there that really would have no idea what this was. They would just go, wow, that was weird, and then just forget about it, you know?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Does
So,
happen too. There's a very famous case, Jack Sarfati, who's well known in this field, who was called as a young child by a UFO and had this whole series of phone calls with them. And he completely forgot about it until his mom mentioned it. She's like, don't you remember that? You kept getting these calls from someone who said that they were an ET.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Well, okay, the good thing I like about this story is I'll tell you this because, there's someone out there always watching new, okay? I mean, even if I get one person who goes, "Oh my God," and watches the show and they like it, one person, I don't care. That's what I'm about now, and goes, "Oh my God, that's what's been going on," and it clicks in their head for them to finally discover and reach out to something that they didn't understand or didn't know about. So that's some really, really good information for somebody out there that may catch that and get more awakened around this, cool stuff.
Few people contacted Nancy Tremaine. She's a well-known person in this field. She's like, that happened to me. I'm so glad you put that out. I would never talk about this otherwise.
Yeah,
Who's going
see?
to believe you?
See, yeah, exactly. Well, I haven't received a phone call from an alien, but I'm waiting.
I've
No,
received some strange calls.
no, actually,
Definitely.
you know what? Maybe I have, and I just really never thought about it. Really, if I'm thinking back,
I'll give you
probably,
a for instance. You ready?
yeah.
They never called me, but they would ring somebody else's telephone if I was present at that location, trying to get me to, get myself loose from where I was. And I've been at friends' houses, and their phones would just start ringing and ringing and ringing, and they'd run and pick it up, and there's nobody there, and it would go back to ringing, 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 and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I understand now, and that it would follow me around. The first time it happened, I just went, oh, that's just so
Wow.
weird,
Right,
but
right.
that I put two and two together. I was like, are you guys trying to get me out? And yeah, and go somewhere you can come out. So you could be anywhere. You could be at a friend's house, at a relative's house, anywhere. And if the phone starts ringing for no reason and nobody can get somebody on the other line, it's not always the what is it, those constant people who dial phones, whatever.
Yeah.
People get hang-ups all the time. It could be an ET
Well,
trying to
you
get
know
your
what?
attention.
It's so interesting you say that because now all of a sudden it's bringing all these things up for me. And so, yes, I have to say now, Dolly, that I have been contacted, which
Yep.
is
That's why I
really,
said it. You forget I can hear things in your head.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because, yeah, I'm contactee too. And I don't want to go down my line of travel because the show's about you. But so that's really cool to know. I
Yeah.
just absolutely love that. So, Preston, what about Not From Here Volume 2? Okay, so that one is UFOs over graveyards, right? There's something about UFOs over graveyards in volume 2.
Right. Again, I'd like to explore all the different aspects of cases that people aren't talking about. That one
Yeah.
has they each have 10 different chapters. One is like the incredible shrinking abductee, cases where they shrink people down or enlarge them. When I talk about angel hair, which doesn't get a whole lot of attention, or UFO rescue at sea, where people have been actually rescued while in trouble on the ocean, UFOs over prisons, the UFO breathing pool, where people are taken on board and have this really unusual procedure where they're dunked in a pool. And yeah, prison or graveyards is another one, and it's so fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now I did not read this one. Like I did really fast. Anyways, so it's highly intriguing because, of course, I do a lot of paranormal stuff. You guys know, not as much as I used to because I'm venturing out into UFO land mainly, besides conspiracies. But tell me about this UFO graveyard thing. I mean,
Well, so unusual, and I never really caught on to it, even though I was running across cases every now and then. It wasn't until I picked up a book about West Virginia by Bob Teets, a reporter. He wrote this book called West Virginia UFOs. It had a case in there about the Dean Memorial Cemetery, where they were having a lot of encounters over the cemetery, and they would show up right after someone was freshly put into the grave. I thought, oh
wow.
my gosh, is this, can this possibly be true?
No, it's spooky. That's like,
And yeah, that's when I started to put things together because Jim and Coral Lorenzen had talked about this. They had a case where a lady owned a funeral home, and her son comes running in and says, "Mom, there's a UFO over the graveyard." And she's like, "Shut up, you're kidding." And he wasn't, because 2 or 3 days later, someone who came to visit the graveyard comes running in and says, "There's a UFO over the graveyard."
wow. Okay, so why, Preston? Have you figured that out, or Dolly, or what? One of you
Well, I
guys.
certainly asked Dolly about it, but I had all kinds of theories floating around. It's like, are they, uh, collecting genetic
Exhuming bodies? No,
material?
no.
Well, are
Here's
they
three
just
reasons
collecting
why.
implants? I had
Yes,
that's why I went
absolutely.
to the.
There's three
Oh,
reasons why. If they
okay.
didn't get the implants before you pass, they will go get them after. Okay.
Oh,
The second one is if a baby, a newborn, is put in the ground and they haven't come to that baby yet, they will come and do a DNA sample of that baby because they account for all of us. And if this baby was born, they want to document that this child came into the world and lived. Okay. And
okay.
they have a heritage of all of us. They know all our families. They can account for everybody, and they would have pulled a little bit of DNA from that baby. And then the third reason is if one of their own passes away and they didn't grab them, they'll come back for them. And yes, that has happened.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And what, Dennett,
It happens.
Dennett, Dennett, what is, what is your theory?
Yeah, well, I was kind of scrabbling to think of why could this possibly be going on. My first thought was genetics, because I do know that human genetics can survive long after a person is deceased.
Right.
And that
Well,
was my
one part
first
of it.
theory.
Yeah.
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 And then someone else brought up, because Scott Corrales, another UFO researcher, also caught on to this about the same time I did. We both wrote articles, and I sent mine to Fate magazine, and they didn't publish it. I'm like, well, gosh, that's weird. They usually love my stuff.
Well, it's because
And
they
then,
published his first, right?
right. But that's
Oh,
fine
damn.
because I got mine published in the MUFON Journal.
Well,
which
that's
is
cool.
just, yeah. And we were able to each get different cases because, we all have our own network. But yeah, he mentioned implants. I thought, wow, Well, and people have given me all kinds of reasons, like maybe they're collecting souls. I'm like, no, I don't think so. But
Okay.
I can tell you, these are not just simple sightings. They sometimes land. Some of these
Yep.
graves are disturbed. There's been humanoids seen. This is going on all over the world. A lot of researchers have these cases. Raymond Fowler, Galen Hynek, I mean, you
Jeez.
name it. There's a
Wow.
lot of these cases. It's more than you think.
Okay,
Wow.
so there's yeah, a lot of cases of these, obviously, like you're saying, and I mean, you're talking about some pretty famous people here. I've never heard of them going over graveyards, but what I'm not really clear on is why would they want to retrieve their implant? Because no one's going to go digging in the grave or looking for it, or wouldn't they have found that in the autopsy, or what's going on with that? It's just a question.
People are exhumed all the time. Happens more often than you know. And if a researcher, an alt government researcher is following this human being and they're trying to figure out things about them and what contact they've had, they'll go re-exhume a body and look for implants at that point. But they have to
Oh,
stand back to the family and let them put them in the ground first because it's disrespectful to the family. They don't want them to know what they're doing.
right.
And it's all very, like a murder mystery kind of thing. It's very, there's a word
Yeah.
for it, I can't think of it in English, but yeah, so they'll go back after they're put in and they'll go looking for it because they don't want researchers to go digging people back up looking for implants or to get their hands on one. That's
Right.
back engineering right there. They're looking to engineer that and make it
Yes. Right. Right.
okay. All right.
Wow. Great. Okay. Volume 3. Here we go. Um, let's talk about Not From Here, Volume 3. And I think we're talking about on this one, Volume 3, Not From Here, is something about gold mines. Well, to me, that would seem normal. It seems, I've read a lot of stuff about how they're attracted to gold. But this, you're talking about gold mines on this one. That's
Well,
interesting.
actually, all mine, but definitely gold
Yeah.
mines. Yeah, and it's so interesting because this has a lot of good takeaways, I think. So yeah, this one I did cover a lot of different types of encounters, such as caught in the act, people who've actually observed people being taken on board from the outside. What else? Alien gifts, people who are given artifacts by the ETs. Can we
Awesome.
contact UFOs through a Ouija board? And the answer is yes. I don't recommend it, but I found a bunch of cases. Or UFOs over prisons. I've talked about Bigfoot UFO cases. So these are all the unusual cases, and
Oh, wow. This is
another,
like high strangeness stuff, which is,
yeah,
wow, that's
that, that
cool.
that's what I love about this whole series of volumes, because these are cases that a lot of UFO researchers won't touch with a 10-foot pole.
No, no, that's
They're
what I
true.
love about you is because you get into some, I mean, like, the schoolyard one with that white stringy stuff or webbing or whatever. That
Angel
one.
hair.
Angel hair, right?
Which book is that in?
Oh gosh, I think it was one or
Schoolyards.
two. Yeah, it's
Something
one or
about the
two.
schoolyards. Anyways, that one's
Well,
really good.
Schoolyards has its own book.
Wow. Yeah, the
Yeah,
schoolyards book you did, and that's the name of it. It's UFOs and schoolyards.
Yeah.
Okay,
UFOs,
so anyone,
schoolyard UFO components.
everyone out there, that's another really good one. High strangeness, wonderful. So tell us about. Okay, so what's with these gold mines? Gold mines.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cases, and I started, connecting the dots when I kept hearing about UFOs. Again, not only being seen over mines, but sending out beams of light, affecting the mines physically, landing, humanoids being seen, gold mines, copper mines, silver mines, uranium mines, iron mines. And a really famous gold mine case took place up in Northern California, which is so fascinating. It involved a couple who have their own gold mine. It's a private gold mine, and they are were still working it. And they kept having these UFOs land by it. And people around the neighborhood were seeing UFOs. They started seeing the ETs. At one point, a UFO landed and left a deposit of unusual material, which they collected and had analyzed, and turned out to be, well, natural, very unusual, because it was a bunch of different elements all brought together that you would never in a million years find naturally.
Sure,
And
yeah.
sand and silicate and all different kinds of separate elements.
So they just left that there? You mean they dropped it off after they visited?
Yep. Very
Okay.
strange, and I think this was a sort of a message. I'm speculating here. Dolly might have more insight into that, but I'm guessing that they did it intentionally as a calling card, saying we were here. I don't know. It's very odd, but I like it
If
because it
they
was
gave it to
analyzed.
us, if they had given that sample to a science, to study,
Yeah.
they would have started doing a I can't speak this word properly.
Spectroscopy. That's a hard
Thank
one.
you very much. So on it, and they would have run a billion tests on it to understand why that sample was the way it was. And one of the lessons that the ET wants humans to learn, or to be frightfully aware of, and I say frightfully, is that when you're mining certain things and you don't do it in a certain way, you're polluting everything around it, and especially into the water. And they would have
Interesting.
like that for them to understand what the hell they're doing. That's
Wow.
exactly what. So yeah.
Wow, that's interesting, Dolly. I totally believe that one.
Yeah.
Wow. So basically, by them leaving that
They weren't
stuff,
trying to give them information. They were trying to show them why they were being stupid. So yeah.
right? So it's kind of like an FO thing for the UFOs.
For your information. Exactly.
Yeah, I love these cases. There's so many of them coming from all over the world. There was one at the Gualcamayo gold mine in San Juan in Argentina. And that's a fairly recent case, December 20th, 2008, which is a great case because this is a big mine, a lot of mine workers there. This UFO comes down and shuts down the whole mine.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, what were they mining? What were they mining there?
Gold. This was another gold mine.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they are at all the different mines. I love the gold mine cases because people have been talking about ETs mining gold for, millennia.
Oh yeah, I do know that.
Mining gold is an interesting prospect because it's in big veins of gold intermixed with the rock. And it's because gold is not natural on this planet. It's ejected onto our planet, and they find big deposits of it in certain places. And the mining process of gold disturbs, destroys, and reflects badly on the environment after they leave it. And they may have been reaching a critical point with that particular mine, and they may have shut them down for that reason, point blank, for that reason.
Yeah, Dolly, my
question. Well verified case. They even got a photograph of the actual craft. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow. Okay, Dolly, why are the ETs so? Well, they've said that they come here to get it. Okay.
Well, they do, but their mining process is different from ours, and they can lift it out without a problem, without destroying the environment.
Right.
That's the point I'm trying to make. And everybody uses gold for one thing or another. In technology, gold is very, very valuable in technology, and light technology, it is, one of those things. It's lightweight. It can be lightweight. I know gold bars, but you can come very thin, and you only need a little teeny.
Well, they use them on $1 million cakes you can buy, believe it or not.
Yeah. People eat that because they think it's
no, it's eating. It's food that I saw where they have gold leaves on them. It's ridiculous. It's so absolutely.
Jägermeister has gold in it. My daughter showed me one day. She said, "Look, I bought a bottle of this. Look what's in it."
Look at its healing properties.
Yeah, they do. It has healing properties. So.
Okay, so Dolly? What do they use it for over there? If they're
anything and everything.
Trade. Okay, or
specifically anything and everything. They use it for transistors. They use it for other types of. I'm not going to give you information like that. Things like technology. And
okay.
They use it on craft.
I will
Interesting.
say I don't think we need to worry about them taking our resources, because that's not exactly what they're
Yeah, you
doing.
can
They have
find
plenty of
gold anywhere.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
I just want to bring that up, but they will send a message, because there was a case over a uranium mine in Karn City, Texas, where we were mining uranium, and they came down, everyone saw it, and they deactivated the uranium. And this is another of many, many cases where they say, no, 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 you are not.
That's been going on for quite a while. A lot of this is what we're talking about at this current moment in time has been going on for a long, long time. Right, Dolly?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as long as humans have been on this earth, huge amounts of people find metals and they start using it for a good purpose, and then they turn it around and use it for a bad purpose, and that would be war. Hurting, killing, that kind of thing. It astounds me how fast they'll turn it into a weapon. And we've weaponized just about everything on this planet, so imagine why they do it.
Yeah, that gets into a very scary, whole different topic.
We're our own worst enemies.
For our planet, anyways, and us as humankind, or whatever you want to call us, because there's all different theories out there, which I'm not going to get into because I'm sure Preston has yet another book to talk about all those things. So I agree with you on that. That's amazing. That can go off in so many directions. It's just, which I'm sure is in the book, right, Preston?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like to explore every aspect of these encounters.
Yeah, that's why you're such a good writer, and it's so easy to follow you, to follow what you're talking about. I mean, it's not made for like scientists saying, Saturn has gone into da, 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 and it loses you. You make it so easy to understand. That's what I love about your books. I mean,
I appreciate
like
that.
Dolly's story.
Accessible.
Yeah, Dolly's story was so, it's a nice big book. Okay, but that story was so well written that I understood every part of it. It wasn't like, huh? I never once from any of your books get like, huh? That's why you're like my favorite. Well, should I call you a ufologist or a researcher?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
I've been called worse, so yeah, I'm okay with that. Just not a ufologist. UAPs, I hate that term.
Okay. Oh, no.
Ufologist, I'm okay with.
Oh, no. And now they're calling extraterrestrials, the government, a different name. Like EAE. What is it? UAF.
UAP?
No, they're calling them UAS.
No, unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP.
No, we just talked about UAP. I'm talking about what they're calling extraterrestrials now. They've changed the name on what that is now too.
Yeah.
Intelligence or
They want to control the narrative.
Yeah. It drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah. I want to make a comment.
Yeah.
Preston has an unbelievable and unusual command of the English language. Okay, he has vast knowledge that most people don't realize he's walking around with. He understands science. He took science in college. He understands astronomy and everything. And he has not been dummied down in any way, shape, or form.
No.
And when he speaks to the American people, or anybody in the world for that matter, he's using competent, intellectual words that you can comprehend and understand.
Yes.
And he knows who he's talking to. And he's not trying to dissuade you. He's not trying to con you in any way.
Right.
He's not trying to make himself look better or too smart or any of that. He's just common sense, down to the nitty-gritty.
Yes.
He uses English in a way that is absolutely the way we should be using it, but he's commanding it really well.
Well,
and
that's why I like him the best, because all of everything you just said is correct. And, he's also talking about things that other people won't talk about. And the thing I love about him is he's not pompous, let's add those in there too. Preston is real. He's not,
yes, period. Yeah.
He's a real person.
My God. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And he's not this other fake follow me or the highway crap. Okay. So everyone out there, you guys know I love Preston. All right. How many times have I said it? Anyways, we have one more book to talk about. And so I want to talk about the last book of not from here, the volume 4 on when contactees levitate. A lot of people have a lot of questions on this, Preston, and they're scared of it and all that. And I know, Dolly, you have a ton of information too. So let's talk about volume 4 first, Preston. Let's have you begin, and then let Dolly come in and say whatever she wants to say. But tell us a little bit about the chapters, and then let's get into the levitation.
It's actually Dolly who inspired that chapter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
awesome.
That question on a lark, thinking, because I was starting to collect cases, and I'm like, I better ask her this. But yeah, I love volume 4 because I got to explore more really unusual cases, such as people who are driving along a remote highway and a UFO comes out and lifts their car up, carries it along.
Yeah.
That's a fact now. Part of these cases, they're not being taken on board, not in most cases.
Right.
That does happen, but they'll just lift you up and set you down.
Yeah.
Or 4th of July encounters. Who knew that was a thing? They come down to watch the fireworks and put on their own show.
That just happened somewhere this year.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that is a thing. The ET fertilizer connection, that was just a little interesting kind of exploration I did. I have a chapter which I love, Those Damn UFOs, which is UFOs over dams, hydroelectric stations.
Oh, well, that would make sense.
Yeah, UFOs over airports, UFO collisions. I crashed into a UFO, because that does happen. It's super rare.
Right. Well, also, how about is in their UFOs shutting down part of our military when they're getting ready to launch something destructive? Is that in there too?
In a prior volume, there's UFOs and rocket launches.
Yes.
We're really watching very closely over all of that. Have actually, yeah. On very few occasions.
They will not stop a rocket from going up, by the way. That's not their bag. They're not interfering with us. What stops rockets from going up is our own sun. A CME will pop off, the energy will be there, they don't pay attention to what's going on, they shoot one up, and boom, the rocket fails, totally fails. And satellites fail, and all kinds of things. That's our fault for not paying attention to the fact that the sun is shooting off CMEs right now, magnetospheres down. Okay. That's us.
My God. I mean, we could get so deep into each one of these subjects. I mean, CMEs, let's just talk about that for a brief second, because that's a whole nother show. CMEs, what are those from the sun?
Coronal mass ejections, and they happen all the time. Our sun right now is in solar maximum, so there's more of them. There are more coronal holes. There are filaments popping and causing other filaments to just suddenly go and all of that. I mean, our sun's very active, and because we're changing poles right now, our magnetosphere is not tight. It's not pushing all the energy away as it did. It's not at 100%. It's down 40%.
Yeah,
so
I've heard that.
Off, we're making loads of gamma radiation, or coronal hole streams, or all kinds of energy from our sun. And it amazes me that the military, the governments, they all know this. They know the truth of it, and yet they do not pay attention, and they don't tell themselves the truth. This is like being deluded and thinking, oh, it's going to be okay, and then they do something and boom, there's a problem. And now they're starting to pay attention. They're a little bit more cognizant of the situation. So I'm curious to see how this.
Partly because of you, Dolly. You and other contactees, and
Ben Davidson is more up there for that. I can tell you all day long that he is the actual physicist who can relay the information in a very comprehensive way, and he has. And he spent years putting together a YouTube playlist of how to teach you to understand it. That's why I send everybody over to his sites.
Oh, okay. And what is his?
Well publicized.
Yeah, what is his site?
Suspicious Observers.
Yeah. Oh, Suspicious Observers.
Right.
Okay.
On YouTube.
Right, on YouTube. Oh, okay, great. So more levitation. I want to talk really quickly. We got about 2 more minutes about, I think what I'm hearing the most from other people is being so scared about, going through walls and being levitated up to the ship. It seemed to be what they're most afraid of. Tell us about that, Preston, first, on what, if that's in your book, and then Dolly, respond.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
vice versa. I don't care.
that's absolutely a big part of the UFO experience, but this is really about people who levitate following an experience. This is an ability, a natural human ability, which the ETs have.
Oh.
And they follow an experience. People will spontaneously levitate. We have the
Oh.
ability to fly. And this may sound crazy, but it happened to Stephen Greer. Bud Hopkins has several cases. Whitley Strieber talked about this. I started getting cases. And I'm like, gosh, here's another person who floated as a kid, and this person flew around.
Well, you know what? I do know that exists because when I was very young, I was about 13, my girlfriend's mom did. And when she meditated, and she would run into the walls, I saw her, because she was in her bedroom. It's dark in there when she does this, but would hit and bump areas that she would move to. So I do know, and come on, in other religions, they talk about it. I don't think that's too unusual if you do a little bit of searching on it. But yeah, that's pretty
I wrote a book on
cool.
levitation. There's 300 cases, and that's why I started researching people who are contactees who've levitated. And I asked Dolly when I was writing Symmetry, just kind of on a lark, Dolly, I don't suppose you've ever levitated when you were a child. And boy, did I get an earful. So, I mean, it's amazing. Dolly
Yeah.
can talk about her experiences of levitation in a way that I have never heard before.
Wow, Dolly, let's hear from you on it. I mean, are you going to bed
I
at
was
night?
born activated. Yeah, my abilities were already on when I was born. I'm in one of those weird situations where I was just born with my abilities. And like learning how to walk or talk, I was exploring being able to do all kinds of things, and it came naturally to me. Sometimes it was a surprise to me as well, including the very first time I remember taking on my own account. I was playing hide and seek in the house, and I kept looking at this closet. I knew there was nothing in the top of it. It's Florida. It's a Florida closet. It's got the bottom doors and then the two top doors.
Okay.
And I thought, God, I just want to get there. I want to thwart her so bad. I was two and a half, somewhere around there. My mom's pregnant. And so I kept thinking about it, and the door slid open, and I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, oh, did I do? And I'm thinking, I want up there, I want up there, I want to go up there, I want to go up there, I'm going up there, I'm going up there, I'm going to get up there. And next thing I know, I feel something pushing me, and it's me. Something's happening in my body. I feel my body forcefully being shoved up.
Yeah.
And I reached my arms out. I was like, okay, let's go, and I got up to the door and I grabbed in and I pulled myself in and I slammed the door shut. And my mom couldn't understand what door got shut. She heard the door slam. She didn't realize it was the ones on the top. And she looked for me for over an hour, and I'm up there giggling,
Yeah.
And she finally found me and freaked her out. And
that is so cool because that's in Symmetry.
Yeah.
That story in length is in Symmetry, and it's you've got some really kind of cute and funny stuff in there too, which I really love.
What I realized was that I did it, and I wanted to do it again and again and again, and so I would sit, and just think about lifting up, and I could. And then at night, when nobody was around to thwart me or stop me, or I was on my own, I could freely do what I wanted. I would sneak out of the house and walk outside, and whoop, I would take off like crazy. And I did that when I was about 7. And I used to fly around the neighborhoods around our area and look at houses and stuff and trees and buildings and things. I stayed home a lot. And I advanced after that. I could like float myself up to the ceiling in our house, and I just float up there during the day. And I brought my brother up. My brother, before he had his issue, would come up with me. He was just a little teeny thing, and I'd wedge him up in there with me. And I got caught though, And just the more I did, the better I got at it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
One
It's
guy
I learned
contacted me from
something.
Europe.
And
After I put this book out, one guy contacted me from Europe crying because he had been looking for answers about this. He had this experience following a UFO encounter, could levitate, and did it over and over and over and over again. So this is not nearly as uncommon as you might think.
yeah.
well,
Psychometry plays into it, okay? Your ability to move objects with your mind plays into levitation because you're surrounding energetically something and displacing it, you're moving it, okay? And levitation is you have a consciousness, okay? And your consciousness will take your body anywhere you want it to go. And it literally lifts up your physical body. Your consciousness can do that. And you just have to learn which way to think about it and it'll happen. So,
well, what you're saying is true, and I think people can do research and find out that this, I mean, there's scientific evidence, isn't there, Preston?
Levitation has been proven in a laboratory
Yes.
setting multiple times.
Yes, it's
proven.
been. So this is no bullshit, you guys out there. I'm telling you, that's what we're talking about right now. This has been a fabulous show. I think we touched on all 4 books like perfectly to give everybody a great idea on what's on all 4, and they're all on Amazon. Easy to find, or like you said, Barnes and Noble. Can they go to your website directly to Preston and just buy them from you?
Well, you can do them through the website, absolutely. And I've got excerpts there. So if you wanted a little bit more in depth of what the books are about, it's all there. All
Okay.
the chapters.
What's
website?
website?
If you just punch my name in, it should take you there. The actual address is PrestonDennett.weebly.com.
Dennett, not Dennett. Okay.
That works. I'm not going to complain.
Okay. Well, it's so awesome to have you guys on. I do every couple months or so, and whenever there's a new book released, I'm on you like flies on poop, begging, please. Even though I don't have millions of followers, you guys let me do it. So I just want to say thank you so much.
you're welcome. I have an insider for you.
Okay.
Preston has done his shows. He's got a backlog of them now. And that means that he can write again. And
Yay!
His book is almost finished. He's got 3 more chapters, I think. Right, Preston? Yeah. And that book's coming out in 2024.
Yeah.
What's that one? What's that one called, Preston?
It's going to be probably the final volume for a while of the Not From Here series. Not From Here, volume 5.
Okay, cool.
You're on my list, Zoe.
Okay.
You're my favorite.
Well, I really appreciate it because as in it goes, green lights. You sit there for a year or 2, and as you know, I'm sure by being on Ancient Aliens, I don't know from the time they contacted you until you were on the actual show, how many months that was. Sometimes it could be years, but sometimes it could be, I want you here in 2 weeks. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so everyone, I just want to say again, thank you so much for watching the show. If you have any questions, I know that I'm getting questions already. Just send them to me, and if you want, if that's the easiest, which is Paranormal Extraction, or you can send them directly to Preston Dennett or Dolly Safran on Facebook. Okay, easy to remember. It'll be written in the about. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a beautiful New Year's. It's New Year's Eve, and a great gift to start your new journey for 2024. Thank you. Thanks, Dolly.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Preston.
Love being with you.
Sure.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.